I started Gribbly's Folly swearing up and down that I didn't want to be a hermit, that I was not a hermit, that I loved my fellow man, I just needed to take some time for myself and go fishing. That was the premise, and it was wrong because I am a hermit and I hate people. So, I have a kid, right? And if you're just tuning in, my kid was a micro preemie. He has special needs. He walks with a walker. He's about 4.5 years old. Maybe we might be going toward 4 3/4 now. Anyway, oh, important point. I'm smoking HH Old Dark Fired, ready rubbed, and that's been jarred up here since 2016. 3-year-old tobacco. It's sublime. Sublime. I'm smoking it in my Missouri Meerschaum hardwood. Let's see if we can pull this off, shall we? Let's see if we can actually get a decent focus. How close? There we go. There we go. All right. I'm trying new gear tonight. So anyway, my kid walks with a walker, right? And because I'm a prepared dude, like I like to be ready for things, I have a bag that I keep for him that's got like his favorite snacks in it, change of clothes for him, that sort of thing. And I keep this bag, well, I keep it a couple of different places. I keep it in the car, and I keep it hanging on a hook inside the door to restock. You know, it's not like a ready bag, because I'm always using the stuff that's in it. It's on my shoulder every time I walk out of the house with my kid. And over the weekend, I was very busy. And came home and I left the walker and the bag in the car, and that night our cars were burgled. Car burglars hit the street on which we live, and they took nothing in my car except the change in my cup holder, which, you know what, like if you're breaking into cars, taking change out of the cup holders, like you probably need it more than me, okay? Whatever. But then the other thing they took was the black bag in which I kept all my kids' stuff, like a couple of toys, some lollipops, Nutter Butters and graham crackers, some from juice boxes, and like toddler-sized clothes because I haven't changed it out in a couple of years. What kind of criminal moves aside a child-sized walker and takes the bag underneath it? Seriously, there were lollipops in the bag. You took candy from a baby. Now, as you know, Gribbly's Folly is also sort of a diary of how I'm trying to be a better person, right? How I'm trying to, for lack of a better term, reach my best self, acquire a higher consciousness in which I'm empathetic toward my fellow man. So I don't get out much, right? Any leisure time I have is not spent with the public. It's spent with the fish, or more accurately, it's spent without the fish, wishing for the fish. But what I do a lot that brings me in contact with people is I take my kid to appointments, to doctor's appointments, to physical therapy. We do a lot of this. We have 1 or 2 appointments a week. And today we had a physical therapy appointment, or so we thought. So I pack up my special needs kid with his special needs walker, and we go to the physical therapy place where we're expecting him to do all sorts of fun exercises. He loves physical therapy. He loves playing on all the equipment and all that stuff. Nope, there was a mix-up. No physical therapy today. Drove all the way in, no appointment. All right, well, fine. Kiddo, where you want to go? He says he wants to go to the mall. Now, as you might imagine, if you have watched even a snippet of any one of my videos ever before, I hate the mall. I can't stand the mall. But kiddo loves the mall, and he gets to run around with his walker, and it's air conditioning, and it's generally it's safer than like it's probably safer than like a rail yard, you know. Anyway, so we go to the mall, and his favorite place to go is Barnes and Noble. So we park by Barnes and Noble, but I always, because it's about getting him exercise, you know, I park way out, and so he has to walk the whole way in to go into Barnes and Noble. So we park way out. It's about 90,000 degrees outside. We walk through the parking lot. We're walking in, and all of a sudden the back wheel of his walker starts going. And he's like, my walker doesn't work. And I'm like, you are kidding me. Really? Really? And I pick it up and the wheel is just stuck solid. So he can't walk independently. He can hold my hand and walk pretty well. Can't go very fast, but he can keep walking. We're trying to transition to crutches. It's not going so well. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the story. So we walk all the way back to the car, stow the walker. But now, of course, he really, he wants to go to the mall. It doesn't matter that he's not going to get the same exercise that he would have. So we go back in, we go to the mall. So we start walking back into the mall. And going up to the big door, the big mall doors, the entranceway, there's a dude standing outside. And he's standing around the corner from the door where he can't be seen by people in the mall. And he's bent over digging in a backpack. And there I am with my 4.5-year-old kid walking along, and we come upon this dude, and he's like one of those guys that's like kind of ageless, like his build and his dress make him look young, but when you look at his face, all the drugs he's done make him look kind of old, so you don't really know. And so he's like digging around in his backpack, and I look, and I can clearly see that strapped to his thigh is an empty drop leg holster. So of course, I immediately go into paranoid gribbly mode. I got my kid with me. Here's a dude. He's obviously not law enforcement. He's obviously not a security guard. He's wearing a drop leg holster at the mall. It's empty. So question number one is, where's the gun, right? And he's like rummaging in his bag, and he's pulling bags out of his bag, and he's like reaching around inside. And so I'm thinking, okay, there's no gun that I can see. I'm gonna keep walking in the mall, and we're gonna get around this guy. Like, rather than turn around and put our backs to him and go all the way back to the car again, with my kid screaming, attracting the guy's attention, because my kid would have flipped out at this point if I had said, no, we can't go to the mall. We decided to walk right past, and I sort of cut the corner around the guy, immediately go into the Barnes & Noble, which has a window looking right at the dude. So I'm standing basically right behind him, and I take this picture. So as you can see, while I don't like to make general judgments about people based on their mode of dress, I doubt that this guy is a standard bearer of high society. I have never owned a fuck belt, but if I did, I don't think I would wear it to the mall. I think there are more appropriate places to wear a fuck belt. But I understand that if you've got an empty drop leg holster and you got nothing to hold it up but your fuck belt, sometimes you just have to press it into service. So since guns is apparently the only thing we can ever talk about on this channel anymore, let's make it clear. I have no problem with people carrying guns. I conceal carrying guns. I do have some problems with people open carrying guns, and obviously the mall is a gun-free zone. I myself was not carrying a gun. I rarely ever carry anymore because I have a kid, and I don't trust myself. I feel like the chances of me making an error and my kid getting a hold of my gun are higher than the chances I would need a gun to defend myself. And so that's all going through my head, and I'm thinking, wow, you're an idiot, because here's this dude who like probably has a gun, right? Like, where's the gun? Does he have a gun? So I'm standing there behind him, looking at him through this door. We're like 10 feet away, and I'm just kind of like, what is going on here? And I look around the Barnes & Noble, and I'm thinking, man, I would hate to call the cops on a law-abiding citizen that's just walking around wearing a holster, or even open carrying outside the mall, where I presume that that's still cool. Like, outside the mall, can you open carry? I don't know. I am not a cop caller in general. I didn't report the theft in my car. I probably should have. But like, part of the Gribbly's Folly thing is like, if I perceive a breakdown of the social contract, I'm not going to call the cops a whole lot on people for situations. I'm not going to be like, hey government, can you sort this out? And so then I start thinking, well, but maybe a mall security guard would be nice right about now. And of course, they're not there. And then I think, well, wait a minute, how do you even find the mall security? Like how, like at what kind of signal do you have to shine in the sky at night to get the mall security guard to show up for anything other than teenage kids shoplifting? So then I'm like, well, maybe I should tell a Barnes and Noble employee, like, that this dude is like, maybe has a gun right outside their store, maybe, and he like doesn't look like he has a good. I mean, there again, I'm profiling somebody. I'm profiling the guy, but I don't want to be a victim of a mass shooter. So what is it? I don't know. Didn't know what to do, and that struck me as like, hey, this is a situation that has no protocol. This is like a gray area here. So I just kind of stood there and watched the guy. I took some pictures to be a good witness. And the more I watched him, the more it seemed like he was batshit crazy. Or on, like, right then on meth. Like, he was tweaking. And he had like a big flashlight tucked in his belt. This is broad daylight. This was at noon. And generally just seemed to be kind of a wayfaring stranger kind of dude that was in trouble in his life, had made some poor choices. And what I could tell that he wasn't was an open carry advocate, you know, because you typically don't see them wearing fuck belts or drop leg holsters, which are basically like the gun nut equivalent of a fuck belt. I mean, I'm sorry, but unless you're wearing like a, you know, like body armor or like plates, you don't need a drop leg holster. Like gun dudes, it makes you look stupid. The real gun dudes make fun of you if you're wearing a drop leg holster with no like gear on. It's for when you're wearing so much gear, the holster on your belt doesn't make sense. That's when you wear a drop leg holster. Whatever. And then the more I look at it, I'm like, that's a drop leg holster for a revolver. Like, you can look at the shape of the Kydex and it's like got a cylinder in it. I didn't even know they made drop leg holsters for revolvers. Like, I'm gonna have to Google this just to find out who in the hell makes a, like, who's carrying a 6-gun in a drop leg holster. So, anyway, I watch until the guy like moves on. He like packs up his bags and stands up and moves on. And I'm thinking, okay, I guess nothing is, like, I guess no action is incumbent upon me at this point because he's moving on. So anyway, but I did want to put distance between us and him. So I decided, you know, we'll come back to Barnes and Noble. We're gonna go elsewhere in the mall right now. We walked out and then I realized that my kid had shoplifted some sunglasses. Inadvertently, I think he just grabbed them and I like picked him up and walked away. So we had to go back into Barnes & Noble. We put the sunglasses back. No one noticed. Could have had some free shades, whatever. And we went back to Barnes & Noble because that's where kiddo wanted to go in the first place. So we go in there and when, you know, the Barnes & Noble has the balcony, the upstairs thing. So he goes up there and he's like playing in the toy aisle. And I'm still kind of, I'm watching, you know. And we were there, I don't know, we were there half an hour. And, so I was standing where I could watch both him and the door, and then I see Mr. Fuckbelt come back in the door, not wearing his drop leg holster or any of his bags, and but acting even weirder, and he's like going around through the cafe, and he like walks in and he like looks at the cafe and he goes and like sits down in a corner seat, and I couldn't quite see anything, but he drank something like a shot. I don't know if it was like a coffee creamer. Whatever. But I'm just kind of thinking, you know, I hate to be this way about my fellow man, but I don't want this guy and my kid in the same room together. So the guy goes from the cafe to the elevator, and I know where the elevator is and where it goes because my kid loves elevators and we ride that elevator every single time we go there. Multiple times, every single time. And so he comes up to the top floor and he goes into the men's room. So at this point, I'm like, you know, it's just time to go. And so I scoop up my kid, who is not ready to leave, but he was also really tired, so he didn't put up much of a fight. And I went over to the nearest Barnes & Noble employee, and I took out my phone, and I showed them the picture that I showed you, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, This dude was outside with an empty holster, and the employee was like, "Oh my God, an empty holster?" Yes, an empty holster. I'm sorry I didn't tell you soon, but no one was there. What? I don't know. What? It's just an empty holster. Like, I thought I was freaking out, and they're like, "Yikes! Whatever. Okay, guess what? Now he's in your men's room. Okay, have a good day." So what's the deal? You tell me. Am I the crazy person in this situation, or is it the dude with the fuck belt, or the people that broke into my car and stole my kids' candy? Who is the crazy person? Who is the... This is why. This is why I'm a hermit. It's not because I'm crazy. That's the stereotype, right? Of the dude with the long beard that's crazy, lives up on top of a mountain. No, it's because everyone else is crazy. I don't know, but I thought it was worth a rant. I thought I would get your perspective on, should I be carrying a gun? Just in case someone with his lack of gun holstered on his leg decides to not shoot up the place? Should I let this stuff go? I only noticed it because I'm a gun guy and I noticed drop leg holsters. No one else even paid attention. And is it me? What's going on? Thank you for watching. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.